In The Sopranos, we follow the life of New Jersey mafia boss Tony Soprano. Tony has a number of capos working under him, one of whom is Carlo Gervasi. After Jimmy Altieri is killed on suspicion of being a rat, Carlo is promoted to the position of capo and has the role of overseeing Soprano's activity at the Newark ports. He has very little backstory, first appearing as a capo in the first episode of season 4, and he's not even referenced by name until season 6. When Vito Spatafore is outed as an ass muncher, Tony gives his construction business to Carlo. Carlo is one of the most outspoken against Vito after he's found out, even suggesting to Tony that he knows a detective who could help in tracking down Vito. He expresses his wish to drag the parade float under his car for the honor of the family, as what Vito does, as he says, is a sin. When Vito is eventually turned into a popsicle as a result of the Shah of Iran's secret police, Carlo praises Phil in front of Tony and the rest of the crew. Another notable Carlo moment is when another parade float, Fat Dom Gamiello, makes jokes about Vito to Silvio and Carlo in Satrial's, and Carlo stabs him. Eventually, it is revealed that Carlo's son was picked up by the feds for drug dealing and Carlo goes missing. That, and the fact that Tony's attorney confirms to him that someone is testifying before a grand jury and indictments are on their way, pretty much confirms that Carlo flipped and became a state witness after his son was nabbed. Of course, that's the ostensible reason, but as I discussed in a previous video, there was a whole bunch of reasons for Carlo flipping. His estimation of Tony as a boss plummets when Bobby goes through a great deal of effort to get Tony his envelope, with Tony dismissively saying, "Fuck all that honor and loyalty shit." And he would have been furious to be told by Tony that he should start sucking cock when Tony berates him in the car when they're driving home from Hesh's place. Not to mention Carlo's cousin Bert Gervasi was taken out by Silvio for his betrayal. Check out that video to see the deeper reasons why Carlo flipped on Tony, or at least know how Tony made it easier for Carlo because of his behavior. But in today's short video, I wanted to point out two instances where I think Carlo's snitch-like tendencies, which would later manifest to him becoming a full-blown rat, were on display. Early signs that he would become a snitch, to utter his disdain for Vito and his potential return to New Jersey. He does so, though, by insulating himself as far away from any blame, shall we say, any potential wrath from Tony, rather than straight up say, "Tony, as your capo, I want to say I don't want to work with Vito if he comes back." He's
agree.
And then immediately throws Paulie's name in the conversation, saying,
For Vito's scalp.
yeah, I know this isn't a huge deal, but what he's basically saying here is that I don't want Vito around and there's others who share my opinion. But he uses Vito's crew's name, other captains, and just after sliding his own vote in there, he jumps to Paulie, shifts the focus of the conversation to how much Paulie hates Vito, as opposed to he himself. And it works because Silvio's follow-up comment is about Paulie.
He's gone fucking mau-mau on the subject.
Paulie, who isn't even here to defend himself. How much more betrayal can he take? Both Carlo and Paulie are equally out for Vito's blood. Why not just be straight up about it? I like Carlo. I think he's a solid character and the actor playing him is fantastic. But there is a bit of a snivelling element about him, a weaselness. Like, why does he always sound like he's about to burst into tears?
We hear you, Tom.
Maybe you should start sucking cock instead of watching TV Land, because Vito brought in 3 times what you do on construction.
The second example is from the Fat Dom incident. Dom saying his stuff goes too far and Silvio hits him, telling Carlo to hit Dom as well, as is his right to do so. But Carlo fucking stabs the guy. You can even hear Sil going, "Carlo, no!"
No, you got
By that point, as Carlo has stabbed him, Fat Dom has to go. Silvio is all in now, but clearly, aside from Dom being really stupid, the guy who really escalated the situation was Carlo. He stabbed the guy, killed him, when the situation could have ended with Fat Dom easily waddling back to New York with a black eye. And when Tony arrives, Silvio tries to minimize the situation, to keep Tony out of it by telling him to go back to his car. But when Tony comes in, Silvio explains the situation, is vague, and then Carlo says,
Still hit him first.
like he's a child, squealing on his brother when he's in trouble by his parent. Even his body language, as Tony walks in, he looks like a kid who knows he's in some deep trouble. It's subtle, but it's there. Silvio was explaining the situation. He said Carlo's name, but didn't go into the specifics. And Carlo jumps in to say Still hit him first, just desperate to clear his name and put Silvio in it. And what's worse is he bloody stabbed the guy to death. This is hardly Silvio's collar to take. And though the scene may have been played for laughs, Carlo's line is good foreshadowing, a little nod to later in the season when he becomes a rat. It shows that when push comes to shove, he'll be disloyal to keep his own neck off the chopping block, that he bends easily. He may fold under questioning. There's a few other instances too, like Silvio noticing rat droppings when Carlo is cooking in the beginning of the scene, the fact that his cousin betrays the Sopranos crew and it was he, Carlo, who sponsored him to get made. When the crew is on the lam at the end of the show during the war and are discussing people paying New York instead of them, Carlo essentially justifies it, dismissively explaining that there's a power vacuum. Shouldn't he be outraged here, or at least acting like it in front of Tony and the other capos? So there you have it. Am I seeing too much into these two scenes, or do you agree that Carlo's betrayal is foreshadowed in these small character moments? Let me know in the comments below, and thanks for watching. Before we finish, I'd just like to thank my patrons Nicholas Curtis and Daniel P. And also my channel members Michael Awatwi, Rikers, Joe Grossberg, The New on Guam 24, Lone Wanderer, Christian Foss, Bloody Quassa and Damien Irving.